so I'm assuming this is a typo, but the second category says boy,
Oh, word.
but it's BOY. Boy. Hey guys, welcome to Cinema Topical. Nate here, and today I'm doing a tier list for Star Wars villains. Strange Wang made the list for me, and the categories that he has at the top is most evil, then bad boy, then ote, and then ass, and then who? So first up we have Kylo Ren. So ranking him, also to preface this, in case it needs to be said, this is a movie channel. I am basing this on movie appearances alone. So, there you go. Kylo Ren, conflicted villain the entire series, has moments where he goes full tilt, but then obviously he comes back at the end. So ranking him as a villain, well, he doesn't end as a villain. So, but he does some pretty jacked up stuff. So based on, even though he does kind of redeem himself, I think some of the stuff he does is borderline irredeemable. So I'm going to put him in the bad boy category. Next up we have Vader. Again, comes around at the end, but it's really just to save his son. It's not like if you want to dig into it, then like sure, like you could say Vader full tilt went the other way as far as what side of the Force he's on. But from what we see in the movies, he pretty much really just saves his son. And outside of that, he does some really jacked up stuff and is a party to some really jacked up stuff. And then obviously his scene in Rogue One is absolutely nuts. So I gotta put Vader up in that most evil category, based on what we see in the movies. So, next up we have Stormtroopers. Okay, so like, yeah, they're all bad shots. It is what it is. But these guys are space Nazis. They are blind sheep following orders. A lot of them signed up for this shit. So, I mean, it's tough because all they really do is like basic henchman shit. So I don't think that they should be in most evil, but like their intentions are never good. So maybe higher than I would have expected to, but I'm going to put them in the bad boy category too, because who the heck signs up to be a space Nazi and is a good person?
Finn.
Well, Finn's his own thing. Next up we have Bib Fortuna, Jabba's right-hand man. He's just a skis ball. I mean, he himself doesn't necessarily do anything that's absolutely awful. He's just like a sort of number 2 guy for a gangster. So that is bad. And I don't think the character is awful. He's really interesting. So I'm going to put him in Ote. Next up, we have Praetorian guards. These guys are just stormtroopers with more skill and blade work. Right-hand guards are like the Emperor's main guard. All that stuff. But again, other than just having that really cool fight, which... similar, but not the same. Yes, whatever. But having the really cool fight in Last Jedi is dope. So I'm gonna put them with Stormtroopers because their acts themselves, I don't really think push them too far. You're gonna have to make an edit here because I can't remember that guy's name.
I spelled Ote like that on purpose.
I'm sure you did.
After one mistake. Wee.
Nute Gunray. That's it. Next up, we have Viceroy Nute Gunray. Yeah, so, like, Trade Federation guy. He is being, like, ultimately manipulated by Palpatine, but he doesn't know he's being manipulated. So, like, he is full on doing everything that he's doing for his own personal gain. He's essentially starving the people of Naboo, wants to make a hostile takeover, organizes the kidnapping of the Queen. Like, he's a shitbag. And I would argue that corporate greed is, you know, like, this, like, he doesn't seem as evil, but the Trade Federation's goal is essentially to control the entire galaxy also. So while they're not doing it with, like, mysterious force powers and things like that, they are still absolute dirtbags. So I'm going to put him in most evil, up there with Vader. He's, like, a terrible, terrible guy. Next up, we have Krennic from Rogue One. Desperate for praise and attention, willing to do absolutely anything to get it. Working on building the Death Star, gets revoked from it because he's not good at his job. Has all the evil intention in the world, but is lacking, like, the brain and cunning to, like, fully pull it off. So I'm mildly conflicted. I'm going to put him in the bad boy category as well. Palpatine's super easy. He's easily most evil, probably the most evil. I don't really do the whole, like, ranking people within the tiers thing normally, but I'm going to put him at the top. He doesn't need a lot of explanation. He sucks. Snoke's an interesting one because of the way that things went with him. Definitely evil intentions, but just, like, so arrogant and at times almost, like, cartoonishly so. Tries to manipulate Kylo Ren. Tries to get Rey killed, but he gets duped pretty easily. Is he good at being a bad guy? I don't think so. I'm going to put Snoke in ass. A lot of reason, mostly just because I kind of want someone to be down there, but I think he's worthy of it. And also thinking of, like, now that I'm adding, are you good at what you do outside of just what your intentions are, I'm going to bump Krennic down to okay, I think. Stormtroopers I'm going to leave because even though they're generally bad at what they do, there's so many of them, it's like they have some successes. So I'm going to let them stay there. Next up, we have Django Fett. Yeah, tough to say. He's a mercenary. I mean, he's doing what he's doing because he's getting paid to be doing it. He doesn't necessarily have this massive allegiance to the dark side or to the Empire. He got paid a boatload of money to be the model for the clones. And then he was really just trying to get away from Obi-Wan because he wants to keep getting paid, essentially. And he only really tried to kill him after, because he was chasing him. And then in the arena, I mean, he's not, I don't know, like, he's not really doing a whole lot. So in terms of, like, are you a true villain? I'm going to put Django in the ass category because he's not really a good villain. So next up we have Tarkin. Tarkin is freaking terrible. He is a sociopath, like, no freaking remorse, absolutely awful guy. It's just like, yeah, we're just going to blow up Alderaan anyways. Like, wiggles his way into Krennic's position, like, gets promoted. So Tarkin is definitely going in the most evil category. He is a dirtbag. Next up we have Phasma. Pretty committed to the The New Order, definitely not good. She doesn't really get a ton done, so I'm going to put her in Otay. Next up, we have a Wampa, specifically the one that grabs Luke. This is immediately going in ass. He's not a villain. He's just a creature trying to eat. I mean, it is what it is. Dooku. Dooku's really interesting because we know he used to be a Jedi. He flipped. That puts you fairly high up on the bad guy category. Beats the shit out of Anakin and Obi-Wan. Runs away like a little bitch when Yoda shows up and almost kicks his ass. Gets pretty manhandled by Anakin in the beginning of episode 3. But I think what makes him the most evil is that when Palpatine is like telling Anakin to kill him, Dooku could have easily just immediately in that moment been like, wait, nope, he's the Emperor. Like you had your chance to not only potentially save yourself, but just completely flip. Because this is before like Palpatine has the immense amount of influence that he does over Anakin. So for his commitment to the Order by not snitching in his last moments, I'm going to give Dooku bad boy. I don't think he's quite evil enough to be most evil, but he's up there. Next up, we have Jabba. So, in the grand scheme of Star Wars, definitely portrayed as a villain. He's a space gangster. He doesn't really have a ton of stake in this whole light side, dark side stuff. Jabba's just trying to make his money, live his little lifestyle, but he's a fucking creep. So, and we all know why he's a freaking creep. But compared to some of these other people, I can't put him that high, so I'm going to put him in the Otay category. Next up, BD-1 battle droids. I'm going to put them in Otay. Obviously, they're bad, but they're droids. They don't have a choice. They're programmed to be, but they are still bad guys, so they go there. Actually, I'm going to put them in ass. Because I think they're really cool, but they are, out of all the henchmen in Star Wars, maybe the worst at their job. And they are programmed to be good at their job. So whoever wrote the program for these guys is like, they're also not good at their job. Next up, we have Grievous. Wants real bad to be a Sith, but can't be a Sith. He's killed a lot of Jedi. But is also not really that great at his job, so he gets bad boy. Qi'ra, tragic backstory, turns on Solo at the end, is working with Maul, is she trying to survive or is she actually evil, you know? I'm going to give her okay. Alright, Boba Fett, kind of in the same boat as his dad. Again, movies only, not considering Mandalorian or the series or any of that. But yeah, he's a bounty hunter. Jabba hired him to find Solo. He found Solo. He was just interested enough to stick around and see what was happening at Jabba's palace afterwards. Maybe he was getting paid to be security there. He's just doing his job. And so, like, is he a good person at this point in the series? No. But is he really a villain? Absolutely not. So, put him in ass. Darth Maul. I mean, he's obviously committed to, like, the dark side and everything that comes from it. Is following Palpatine's orders. He's all about it. Is really good at his job until he isn't. Tough one. Is he most evil or just a bad boy? I would have liked a little more time with him in the films, so I'm gonna go bad boy. And then finally we have General Hux. he wants to be bad, but like as soon as he isn't really getting the praise that he wants from his superiors, he does kind of ultimately flip. Also, just like, what a whiny little bitch, right? So he's going in an ass. And that's it. Those are all the characters I have. No one in the Who category. I feel like all these people are either easily identifiable or at least have some sort of real importance to the stories that they're in. So no one in the Who. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Makes no difference to me. Scroll back up, hit the like button, and subscribe.
He said he a bad boy.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.